Let's talk about one of the most polarizing events in recent American history, the Trayvon Martin case. You probably think you know the story. But what if I told you the narrative you heard was carefully crafted, shaped by media, and packed with details you might never have seen? It all started in 2012 when 17-year-old Trayvon Martin was shot and killed by George Zimmerman in a gated Florida community. The case exploded into the national spotlight, fueled by headlines, photos, and, honestly, a whole lot of emotion. But here's the thing. Much of what you saw in the media wasn't the full picture. News outlets circulated photos of Trayvon as a fresh-faced young teen. Think the iconic red Hollister shirt. But those images were years old. More recent photos, where he looked older, tougher, or posed in ways that didn't fit the media's victim narrative, were basically ignored. Why? Because it's easier to sell a story if the main character looks the part. Now, Trayvon wasn't living in that neighborhood. He was staying with his dad after being suspended from school. And he had some run-ins with trouble. Text messages show talk of drugs, fighting, even trying to buy a gun. But none of this made national headlines. Zimmerman? The media called him a white Hispanic, a term pretty much invented for this case, even though his mom is Afro-Peruvian. He'd mentored black teenagers, voted for Obama, and once reported a white cop's son for assaulting a homeless black man. On the night of the shooting, he called the cops on a suspicious person, mentioned race only when asked, and ended up in a violent altercation, with injuries and 911 calls to prove it. But ABC News edited his call, making him sound like a racist vigilante. And then there's the trial. The prosecution's star witness, Rachel Jeantel, claimed she was on the phone with Trayvon during the fight. But a documentary called The Trayvon Hoax argued she wasn't even the real girlfriend. Instead, the person on the phone was Diamond Eugene, who never testified. The reason? Allegedly, she didn't want to get involved, so her half-sister took her place. This led Zimmerman to file a massive lawsuit for witness fraud, though it got tossed out. So why did this narrative take hold? The answer might be politics and profit. The Trayvon Martin case became the emotional blueprint for the Black Lives Matter movement. President Obama himself weighed in, saying, "If I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon." That's the kind of statement that turns a local tragedy into a national movement. But here's my point. When a story is this charged, we owe it to ourselves to look past the headlines, dig deeper, question everything. Because sometimes the truth is a lot messier than the story we're sold.